us a little about your job and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Well, at Virginia Tech, I serve as one of the 2 assistant directors of fraternity and sorority life in this office. My main responsibility is working with our Panhellenic women's community, which consists of now 13 organizations and about 2,000 women at Virginia Tech, working with each of those local chapters with programming and conduct and whatever else they kind of want me to do, working with their presidents, and then I also advise 13 executive leaders for that entire community. So there's 13 women that are elected from all the sororities that work together to do programming, and they meet once a week with representatives from all the organizations. So we do those meetings and advise and work with them. I guess day to day, it depends on the day. So like right now, it's Greek week, so last night we had a big banquet to celebrate a lot of our alumni and advisor leaders and things like that in the community. And today we have an outdoor event in Oak Lane in our Greek village, and like tomorrow we have another event, and I'm on the phone with the insurance company to make sure all of our insurance is in line for the event because nobody likes to get sued, and making sure that, because just we're doing outdoor games, we want to make sure all that's in line. But I think the day-to-day is a lot of just meeting with students as they come in, helping them with issues and problems in terms of their organization. I'm excited because I do, by virtue of my job, get to do a lot of work with the Virginia Tech Women's Center. So I work with them. I'm a member of their Mentors and Violence Prevention team, and I sit on the Sexual Violence Prevention Committee for the university and work on those kinds of things. So depends on the day, but the majority of the time it's meeting with students, helping them with questions, doing programming and things like that.
Okay. Well, we just wanted to know where you went to school and how you got involved in this career. This is such a crazy random time to go down. Exactly.
So I went to West Virginia University. I'm a mountaineer in hiding, is what I tell people. I went to WVU for 5 years and got my bachelor's degree in biology and integrated sciences and a master's degree in secondary education. The goal was going to be a high school science teacher. That was the family biz. I wasn't Greek as an undergrad, it just wasn't for me at West Virginia, but I was involved in an honorary service organization for college musicians. I was a member of the band programs at WVU and did a lot with that. So through that program, through Kappa Kappa Psi is the name of that group, I ended up being a traveling consultant for them for 2 years. So I spent 2 years kind of driving around the country, working with college students and student organizations and various issues and things like that, and loved what I was doing. But I only wanted to do it in one place. I was tired of living out of my suitcase. So I had a good friend who worked in higher education at the University of Michigan, and she was like, if you really love doing this, you can make it your career. And I was like, you can. So did some research and learned about you can go to graduate school specifically for student affairs administration and higher ed administration. So decided that's what I wanted to do. So I finished traveling. I went to Oklahoma State University to get my second master's degree in higher ed administration and student affairs. I was a graduate assistant for the vice president of student affairs there, and while I was working in my office one day, this gentleman comes in and says he's starting a fraternity on his campus and he needs somebody to come live in the house and be their graduate advisor. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So I moved in with the men of Sigma Phi Epsilon at Oklahoma State. They had 30 men when I moved in. They had recruitment over the summer and came back with 60. There were 60 total guys. So I lived with about 50-some men that first semester. And then when I left, they had about 100 men, had recharted their organization. It was just a really great group to be involved with, and I saw a group of men that did fraternity the right way and were really intentional about recruitment and looked at how they picked men based off what they wanted to see in their chapter, not just because they needed the numbers. And ended up switching my assistantship to fraternity and sorority life and working in Greek life at Oklahoma State. And then came here 3 years ago now, almost 3 years ago in June, and have been working here ever since with the fraternity and sorority community. It's a quick little roadmap.
So was it difficult to make that decision though? What did other people say about it?
Yeah, I think it was. My mom still, I don't know if she really understands what I do. I just have quit telling her. And she was like, you plan parties, right? And I'm like, exactly. That's exactly what I do, Mom. I plan parties and tell people when they're in trouble. You got it. No, sure, and I guess, you know, I had so many friends who knew what it was about and supported me in it that it was okay, but some people just still don't understand what we do and why what we do is important to the college experience. Because if fraternity and sorority is done well and done correctly, it can really give people such a powerful medium to just explore leadership and service and you know, social networking and things like that, just to become better people if it's done well. So that's why we do it.
Awesome. Did you find it hard at all to pull away from that career you were considering in science education, being a teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Was there something like particular that made you realize that's not what you wanted to do, or a change of heart? Or?
I think, well, one, traveling, and I like to tell people, I always knew I wanted to work with students and people and things like that, and I was a nerd, and I picked science just because I was good at it. I didn't have to work too hard at biology and science. Those science and math just came naturally to me, and I was more about teaching and working with students. And I soon realized as I was going through my career there at West Virginia and teaching that I was like, I don't need to be in the classroom, and my plan was to either just go teach and then eventually get a degree to be a school counselor and things like that. So that's kind of the route I was going to take, but decided that this was much more fitting with what I like to do, and supporting students outside the classroom is really exciting. So I don't know if it was hard, it was just one of those things that I just assumed I'd be a teacher and work in a science classroom, and the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, I don't teach science because I love teaching science. I teach science because science is easy and I love working with students. So if I could just work with students and not have to teach science, I'm all about that. So.
Did you ever have any pressures, like from your dad or mom, to stay in that career path that made you think about it twice, or?
I don't think so. I never got pressures from them. Both, I mean, my dad was the superintendent of schools where I grew up, and my mom was a public school teacher for 25 years.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't want me to be in public education. They were like, don't be a teacher. And I ended up, it's like, I'm going to be a teacher. So no, I mean, I was really, I guess I was fortunate to have parents that, you know, told me, you know, do what you love and take care of it. As long as I feel like you're taking care of yourself and you're not doing anything unethical or weird, you know. And, you know, you're making a living, you're taking care of yourself, you know, you can be proud of what you do, then we're proud of you. So, I mean, the pressure was college. That was the pressure for me. There was never not an option to go to college. Like, I never remember a time in my life where I wasn't going to college.
Right.
That was the pressure in my family, is you're going to college. We're going to help you get there, but, you know, you're going. So that was the pressure I got, not about career. It was just, you have to go to college. And I'm like, okay, going to college.
So what did you do in college that really helped you realize that this was something you wanted to do? Was it, I guess it wasn't like in classroom stuff, it was things you were doing outside the classroom that helped you realize?
I think a little bit of both. As far as in classroom stuff, whenever I was like student teaching and things like that, I hated teaching general science classes because the kids had to be there. And I loved teaching the classes like advanced biology and things like that where kids elected to be there. And I was like, these kids want to be here, I love it, you know. And there's definitely something special about teaching those general classes that everybody has to take. But I learned, I love students who have an internal passion or drive or some kind of want to be there, or they see value in it. So I think that's part of it. I realized I learned working with students who were just passionate about what they were doing, not because they were forced to do it. I also think I was a really involved student. I mean, I was in Kappa Kappa Psi, and I served as a leader in that organization on our campus, and I was the district president for 31 colleges from Maine to Virginia when I was an undergrad, and was really involved. And of course, I mean, I chose to delay whatever career to travel for them for 2 years. So I was really passionate about the college experience that I got outside of the classroom. I was a member of, you know, the Student Education Association. I did a lot just with, you know, like student union activities, things like that, student organizations, 4-H, you know, I did all that stuff, and I felt it was really helped me be a better college student. So I think that's why I'm passionate about other students getting those experiences as well.
Well, I guess just to close up, do you have any advice that you would give to students who, I guess like us, are kind of confused about their career path, or being pulled one way or another?
We don't know what's going on.
It seems like you started somewhere and ended up somewhere completely different.
I don't know. I think the only person who can decide what's right for you is you. Is the first thing that I would say. But that doesn't mean you get to delay that forever. I think, you know, if you don't know what you want to do, then what you want to do should be figuring out what you want to do. So you need to, if you don't have passion yet for something, or you're still trying to figure that out, put your passion towards finding out what that is. Learning about what your strengths are, learning about where you feel you're going to be happy for your whole life, and putting your passion that you want to put somewhere else into figuring out what that is, instead of just kind of, you know, I'm not saying that you are, just hanging out and hoping for the best and hoping something will fall on your lap, but I think is what I would say. And, you know, because, I mean, I started out at West Virginia wanting to be a biology major, to go to med school, to, okay, I'll stick with biology to be a teacher, to travel the country for 2 years, and now I want to work with college students. I mean, I was always very passionate about what I was doing, but it just took me a while to figure out what that was. But it all kind of stacked up together. You know, I'm probably not the best. I'm not the best admissions counselor folk and the student affairs people. Like, you need to know what you're doing, because I'd be like, you know, I don't really know what I wanted to do when I was a freshman. It took me a little bit, but just making sure you're taking the time to actually figure out what you want to do, instead of just waiting for somebody to tell you what you want to do. You have to wait. Yeah. You should take ownership of your life and put the passions into figuring out what that is.